I have smelled many jasmine perfumes, but very few of them make me think of home, as I originally from China. And most jasmine perfumes smell like sensuality, night, or luxury. But this one, Amalia from Fueguia 1833, feels a bit different. It smells less like a flower displayed in a perfume bottle and more like jasmine tea steeping in memory. Let me give it a try. First, I should say that I personally love jasmine very much. Among all floral materials, jasmine is probably my favorite. I have always been searching for a jasmine tea perfume that could satisfy all my expectations. And I still have not quite found it. But I do think Amalia comes very, very close. To me, Amalia is especially interesting when read through the lens of Chinese cultural attachment to jasmine. It is not a complex white floral fragrance. It is actually very minimalist, and it is not the kind of perfume that makes jasmine seductive, heavy, tropical, or nocturnal. Its structure is extremely restrained. Jasmine, Hedione, and ambergris. This is a jasmine perfume that can feel intimate to Chinese people, even slightly nostalgic. And in Chinese culture, jasmine is not simply an exotic white flower. It has long been shaped by everyday life in history, folk songs, tea, domesticity, and the aesthetic of quiet elegance into a very specific scent memory. There is a song called 茉莉花. It's a Chinese name for jasmine flower. It is one of the most famous Chinese folk songs and is often regarded as one of the cultural symbols of China. What it prays is a flower that is very common, that is fragrant and white, a flower that is beautiful, clean, and worthy of being given to someone as a small gift. So when a Chinese person smells jasmine, especially a transparent, bright jasmine without too much animalic quality, the first reaction is often not just white flower. It may be jasmine tea, a summer evening, old-fashioned soap, a southern courtyard, girlish tenderness, clean white clothing, or even a kind of old-world gentleness and politeness. The Chinese attachment to jasmine comes less from the flower itself than from the way jasmine has been repeatedly placed inside our everyday life. The jasmine in Chinese memory is usually small flowered jasmine or jasmine sunback. The beauty of sunback lies in its quality of being clear with sweetness, white with greenness. Jasmine truly entered the lives of ordinary Chinese people, not only through fresh flowers, but through the technique of scenting tea. There were already records of using flowers to scent tea in the Song dynasty in China, and by the Ming and Qing periods, the jasmine tea scenting process had become increasingly mature in regions such as Fujian province and Guangdong province. And in this process, tea leaves and fresh jasmine blossoms are layered, one layer after another. They're layered together, allowing the tea leaves to slowly absorb the fragrance as the flowers breathe and wither. This is not a matter of spraying flavoring onto tea, but a craft that requires time and patience. So in the finished product, you often no longer see a single flower, but the fragrance from jasmine has already been fully absorbed into the tea leaves. And this process itself carries the quality of restraint and implicitness in Chinese aesthetics. The flower is gone, but the fragrance remains. As a side note, my personal favorite jasmine tea is from a Chinese brand, 竹叶青, and they have a tea called 碧潭飘雪, translated as snowflakes drifting into emerald pound. So snowflake is the little jasmine petal, and the emerald pound is the cup of green tea. I have always hoped that one day a perfume brand could perfectly recreate the scent of this 碧潭飘雪 jasmine tea. And because Chinese jasmine tea is often made by scenting tea leaves with jasmine blossoms, many Chinese people's first scent memory of jasmine is actually this clearer, more tea-like, more everyday kind of sunback jasmine. It connects to tea, to home, to old-fashioned daily life and gentle memories. By contrast, another type of jasmine, Jasmine grandiflorum, smells more European or more perfumery-like. It is often broader, rounder, and more abundant with honeyed, fruity, pollen-like, and pottery quality. And it more easily reveals indolic and animalic size. Many jasmine absolutes from France, Egypt, or India are described as glamorous, rich, sensual, and complex. And this is not the jasmine in a teacup, but jasmine magnified inside a perfume bottle. The petals are thicker, the scent are more expensive, and the direction more easily turns toward sensuality, maturity, luxury, and even a slight female fatale danger. In contrast, Amalia, however, feels to me like a very successful reconstruction of small flowered jasmine. It beautifully restores the green quality inside sunback jasmine beyond this realistic recreation of small jasmine flower. It also uses Hedione as a harmonizing material that can soften jasmine, rose, and other floral notes. A generous use of Hedione in this bottle create an effect that strongly resonates with Chinese cultural aesthetics. Hedione is a synthetic fragrance molecule. Its smell is extremely light, transparent. It captures the clean, bright, sweet side of jasmine while almost completely bypassing the animalic quality of Indo. This is why the jasmine in Amalia smells very pure. It is closer to the imagined scent of jasmine tea than to the dazzling, fresh flower of a tropical night. Another element in this bottle is ambergris. Ambergris also plays a very important role in this perfume. In the history of perfumery today, wild ambergris is extremely rare, and most perfumes use synthetic substitutes such as ambroxide, but Fueguia 1833 explicitly emphasized its use of high-quality natural material, and it mentions using very fine natural ambergris in Amalia. And ambergris makes the whole perfume smell as though it is growing out of the skin. It blurs the boundary between perfume and body scent. It creates a sense of everyday intimacy, as if the smell naturally belongs to the person wearing it. So, Hedione, its transparent floral quality creates the effect of spring. It prevents the jasmine from sitting heavily on the skin and instead makes it feel lifted by air. At the same time, the use of ambergris keeps this transparency from becoming too ethereal and give it a slightly grounding, salty, skin-like intimacy. There is a Chinese song I love called Yu Zhen, and Yu Zhen is a woman's name, belongs to my grandmother's period. And its lyric also used the image of jasmine. The first time I heard this song, I cried. It is a song written for a grandmother, for relatives in memory, dedicated to the grandmother in heaven. So there is one especially important image in the lyric. That is, her jasmine flower or her jasmine tea is still being sipped by me, and followed by another line saying, the song she listened to still being sung by me. So, my grandmother passed away several years ago, and she also drank a lot of jasmine tea on a daily basis. So here in the lyric, jasmine is clearly not just a flower. It is much closer to a scent memory that can be inherited, consumed, and remembered by our body. One interpretation is if the lyric becomes, I am still smelling her roses, then it would immediately become more romantic, more Western, more about love of a couple. But I am still drinking her jasmine flower is completely different. It places emotion directly into the space of family, teacups, elders, old days, and gentle habits of life. So jasmine here is not a flower of desire, but a flower of kinship, family memory, and inherited ways of living, and the passing of memory. So drinking the jasmine tea she once drank, singing the song she once listened to, in this way, jasmine becomes a medium of scent passed between generations. So again, it is not monumental, or it is not about a grand mourning, but a very light, domestic, and tender form of mourning. The person is gone, but her tea, her songs, her kindness, her way of living slowly enter into me. And this one, Amalia, has another name, Amalia Primavera. Primavera means spring in both Spanish and Italian. In these languages, spring is not only a matter of climate, it is the awakening moment of the year, the turning point from death back into life. Embedded in this word is an almost existential joy. Not merely the weather has become warmer, but the world has begun again. So what does spring jasmine mean when translating the title of this perfume? I think it means the moment when the flower has just opened, when its fragrance is at its fullest but not yet excessive. And this is exactly the life force that Amalia captures. We mourn, we miss, we continue living, and still we remain full of hope. And that's my review on Amalia from Fueguia 1833. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.